Hello, it's Bill, the knee pain guru, and welcome to Yes, Dr. Beck. We're going to call it a show. You want to call it a show?
I will call it a
Should we
show.
call it a show? You want a show? Charlie, you want a show? Okay, welcome to the Ask Dr. Beck show this week. We had a little bit of a mishap on the home front, so we had to postpone it for a few days. Normally, we're on Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, where we pose questions to Dr. Beck, who is a classically trained osteopath. He specializes in manual manipulation. Would that be pretty accurate?
Right. Yep.
Okay. So each week we go over topics that you have, that you pose through the website. We will post the link right there. It's also in the description box below of this video. You can click on that and you can submit your questions right through that page on the Comella Foundation website. And so it's been an intense week, huh, Charlie?
Been an intense week.
Yep. Been an intense week. Yeah. Any kind of themes you've seen in working with your patients this week?
Well, I think our next session when we get together, I'm going to bring home a couple of foot models, and we'll go over how the foot works.
Foot models, like in anatomy of a foot thing.
Anatomy of a foot. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not regularly in the habit of cleaving people's feet off to bring them home.
Okay. Well, I was thinking you would have people walking around in the background. So anyway.
Probably not. Probably show you on the model what happens. But I've been seeing a fair amount of foot and like plantar fasciitis and things like that. So talk about how that works, where it seems like the traditional medical model is falling down in its treatment of things, and then how you can do some things yourself, and then you might need help for others.
There was actually I took some of the what you had spoken about the week before regarding the relationship of the talus and the calcaneus and to the rest of the foot.
Yep.
And I was having some of the clients in Knee Club work with that, which was kind of cool. And I gave it to them last week, so I'll see how it plays out this week.
Yep.
But that was kind of cool. And I was able to bring up, well, I did a share screen kind of deal, so you can kind of look at the bones a little bit with them. So let's see. We got a question in this week from John. He writes, I had an ankle injury 30 years ago while roller skating. Many pins and plates were used to reconstruct it. I still have the x-rays, which I could try to send to you. I am receiving the cortisone shots, and usually they work very well, keeping the pain at bay for about 4 months. Prior to this, I was considering fusion surgery because it was really bad and I could barely walk on it. But as I say, the cortisone is very helpful. I also have a soft Velcro fastening brace prescribed by an orthopedic doctor, which I use when I am doing heavy work or when I know I will be on uneven terrain. It is helpful. My questions are, should I continue this current practice of the shots? Is there any downside to getting them? You want to take one question at a time, or you want me to kind of cover everything?
Let's read through the whole thing, and I'll get the gist of it, and then we'll go one question at a time.
Okay, that was the first question. The second question is, would it make any difference if I had the pins or plates removed? I have a few come out on their own. This current doctor thinks it won't make a difference. What kind of effort should I make to strengthen or rehabilitate the ankle on my own so it will last as long as possible? And what would you advise in this regard? There's a lot.
Okay. Yeah. And so now I have the gist of what they're trying to get to.
Sure.
So before we answer the questions, let's set up the scenario.
Okay.
So we have injury and trauma that comes in enough where, in this case, bones have moved out of their original location and or may be broken. So at a minimum, we have torn connective tissue, which would include ligaments and tendons, and potentially muscles may be damaged, fascia is damaged, and then potentially also bones are broken. That's our scenario.
Okay. Now, does that make any difference, the fact that this was 30 years ago?
No.
No. Okay. Got it.
No. Okay. So basically, from a physics standpoint, energy came into the body, and it was enough energy in a short enough time period that the body's only way to respond was to break. Okay, to tear, whatever. So if it was slower, tissue may have stretched, but not break. It was fast enough that tissue broke. Okay. Now, I say all that because from a physics standpoint, that trauma is still present if it has not been treated and released appropriately. Okay. So that's law of conservation of energy. So energy can be neither created nor destroyed, only transformed or stored. So the transformation in this case was the tissue breaking. The storage is anything that couldn't be transferred into that damage of the tissues is stored there. And typically, if we just keep it simple, that's what the pain is. It's the stored energy. Things don't move because they're stuck.
Right.
All right. So that's our setup. I'm going to answer the second question first about the pins and plates and whether they should be removed. I'm going to say that there's two reasons that I would say pins and plates should be removed. The first one is that they directly cause pain. So therein, you happen to know where they are. You push on them with a relatively light force. It's painful. Then those are causing some pain. They should be removed. The second one is you do not have a fusion, but the pins and or the plates are causing a restriction in motion. Okay. So if your pins and plates are not causing restriction and they are not painful, it's not a requirement to get them removed. Okay. If they're giving you problems, then getting them out makes sense.
Got it.
Okay. So then the first question is kind of what do you do about it? Now, I'm going to do my best not to speak poorly of my colleagues in medicine and allied health, but very few of them look at mechanics of movement, of function, basically. So in this case, the orthopedic surgeon is going to look at it. Well, your bones are in the right place. We've taken a static x-ray. We've taken a CT or an MRI, but they're not going to feel it move through its ranges of motion to see if it's moving the way that it's supposed to. And so now we can have discord between what the images show and what you experience as the owner of this injured body part because it doesn't move correctly. So the way that Western medicine would deal with it is to give you a shot to deaden the pain, right? Deadening the pain is not necessarily a bad thing, but deadening the pain doesn't necessarily fix the function behind the root cause of the pain. So are the cortisone shots bad? If they're working for you and they're pretty consistently giving you 4 months of relief, not bad. Is there perhaps a better choice? Yes, finding someone who knows the mechanics well enough, who can work with your body and get that pain to go down enough where you don't need the cortisone would be the best option.
Okay. So I want to go back to the initial question. Should working with the joint, you can have a pin or a plate that does not interfere with the motion of a restricted joint.
Correct.
But then you get that restricted joint freed up, and now the pin or the plate can be either painful and or restrict the movement of the joint.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I want to say the bringing what happened in the ankle down to uh, more of a like a common sense perspective. We're breaking it down to physics.
Sure.
Energy, that you had a direction of the force that broke the ankle, and then it's stuck in there somewhere. We have to dissipate that somehow and bleed it off. Bleed it off is not probably the best term, but allow that pressure or that
right. You can release it. Yes.
Release it. Yeah. Cool. That was one question that came in. I will reply with today's episode so they can check that out. Let's see. I'm looking in here to see. There's that. There's that. See if there was any other questions that came in. Is there anything else you wanted to expand on or around the ankle or pins or plates?
I think probably it makes sense to wait until I have the models so that I can show you what I'm talking about on the bones.
Okay.
So yes, there's a lot I'd love to expand on.
Sure.
But we'll wait till next week. I'll bring the models and we'll look at those.
Okay, cool. We could do that. Let's see. We didn't get a lot of anything in depth to really go into from last week. And we are getting things tweaked and adjusted on the website as well to direct more of the organic traffic and the from the Google grant to this page, so we can get more people, more questions. So we'll say that if you like the information that's coming through, please give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the Comella Foundation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications for future videos. And if you have friends, family, loved ones that have questions that are kind of stuck with the results that they've been seeing, pose a question to Dr. Beck. And what we'll do is we'll read it live on air and get a different perspective to see something that you can maybe take back to your conventional doctor, or you can possibly look for another avenue that could give you some different results. So, okay, Charlie, well, we'll keep this one short today.
Sounds good.
And I thank you so much for being here. Maybe we could look at the analytics on this, and if there's any subjects in there, topics in there that would be interesting for you to chat about, we can look in that as well.
Yeah, I think, like I said, when I get the foot models, it's going to make a little more sense, and we can start tying in knees and hips and low back pains to foot issues, and then we can just work our way up the body. We can go to knee issues and what they do and how they show up, and hip issues and how they show up, and we'll work our way from there.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Beck, for being here.
Thank you, Bill, for having me.
And we'll see everybody next week.